should we spin it over to the national team here? Because I kind of want to do a little exercise with you, Mosse. We are coming into the January camp of the U.S. men's national team. This is not going to involve Christian Pulisic, but this is going to involve, a January camp, which oftentimes is MLS players or players that are going to be able to be released from their clubs, which oftentimes means that they're not playing for their clubs. But it's going to be predominantly MLS players and players for the future, or that we haven't seen a whole lot in the past. I'm gonna go through the roster, Mosse, from the World Cup here. And I want you to tell me, and I'll tell you, who do you think still is going to be around come 2026? Keep in mind, it's not 4 years away. It's only 3.5 years away. So, goalkeeper, Matt Turner, Ethan Horvath, and Sean Johnson were the goalkeepers at the World Cup. I think Matt Turner's going to continue to be there. I don't think Ethan Horvath, and I don't think Sean Johnson. Yes or no? Do you agree?
Well, first off, let me make a larger point.
Okay.
The U.S. had the second youngest squad at the World Cup behind only Ghana. And so if you go through this roster, there are very few players that you would discard based on age.
Yes. Okay. It's a few, but okay.
Turner will be in his early 30s, so no issues there. Come 2026, Zach Steffen, somebody who didn't get picked for this World Cup, will be in his early 30s, so I think he could certainly jump back into the mix. And then you have the emerging Gabriel Slonina.
Exactly.
So if I had to take a guess, I'll go Turner, Steffen, and Slonina as the
Okay,
three.
but you agree with me that Horvath and Johnson are no longer a part of the team going forward.
Definitely Johnson. Horvath theoretically could be.
No, they all theoretically could be. I mean, so this is, once again, this is a way too early prediction, and we're not going to, take you back and, beat you up.
I reserve the right to change this over the next 3.5 years.
There you go. All right, let's go to defenders here. Serginho Dest, I think, is going to be involved. I don't think Walker Zimmerman's going to be involved. I think Anthony Robinson's going to be involved. I don't think Tim Ream is going to be involved. I don't think Aaron Long is going to be involved. I don't think Shaq Moore is going to be involved. Cameron Carter-Vickers, I'm on the edge, but I don't think he's going to be involved. DeAndre Yedlin is not going to be involved, and I do think Joe Scally is going to be involved. Anybody there that I missed of those? And obviously waiting in the wings with the unfortunate injury is Robinson, Miles Robinson, that is. And at some point, Chris Richards is maybe going to come good, but these are players that certainly could be involved going forward. But of the people that I said aren't going to be involved, is there anybody there that you disagree with? The Zimmermans and the Reams and the Longs and the Yedlins?
No, I agree. Those all drop out.
Cameron Carter-Vickers?
He could be, yeah. I think center back, I'm looking at Miles Robinson, Chris Richards, Carter-Vickers, Palmer Brown, Mark McKenzie. I think those are going to be there. And then somebody completely new could emerge. We'll see. But
yeah. And by the way, keep in mind that in the interim, we will have seen an Olympic team play. We will see this whole generation come through, and there will be stars that emerge through Gold Cups, and who knows, maybe Copa Americas and other things that happen. The interesting thing when talking about the national team is it's also what's coming up behind, and very, very closely behind, not generational, like we have to wait 2 generations. I think that they're going to want their moment, especially 2026 being, and I think it's going to be in the offing. Anything else there defensive wise?
So we also talking fullback here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the starters, Dest and Anthony Robinson, should be no problem for the next World Cup. Joe Scally is a guy that I think could really
only 20
emerge.
years old. Yep, he's only 20 years old.
Kevin Paredes is a guy I'm going to keep an eye on. And then, you've got all sorts of Reggie Cannon, Brian Reynolds, Sam Vines, George Bello. So, age is no issue there. Just seeing which guys develop the best over the next 3 or 3.5 years. So I think the U.S. is going to have plenty of options there. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of options, and I think a lot of people, when looking at this team, this was the wheelhouse, the engine in terms of the midfield. Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, and Weston McKennie. Barring injury, and of those, just to remind everybody, Tyler Adams is 23 years old, Yunus Musa is 20 years old, and Weston McKennie is 24 years old. Barring any injuries, they are going to not only be there, but they are going to be the focal point in that midfield. Coming on strong behind, Brendan Aronson. I don't think that Luca de la Torre, I think he'll, this is one where I don't think that he is ultimately going to make the impact that people want them to, or maybe that he can make. So I'm not sure if he's going to be around 4 years from now. It would require him making a leap and finding a way to push his way into there. I don't think Christian Roldan's going to be around, and I don't think Kellen Acosta is going to be around. Obviously, you have Jordi Mihailovic waiting in the wings, Eric Williamson, these types of players, and a whole host of others.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Williamson. Paxton Pomacall is a guy who, if he can get over his injury problems, which he's sort of did last season. I think he could really emerge. Obed Vargas is a young player I'm going to have an eye on. But yeah, and then if we're bringing up Aronson in this mix, he's kind of a tweener. But yeah, then Malik Tillman is somebody I would throw into that mix too. Mihailovic, you mentioned, just moved to the Netherlands. How's at Alkmaar, so we'll see how he does there. But yeah, I mean, those three, Mosse, McKennie, and Adams, I think will be starters again come 26. I don't see any reason to mess with that trio too much.
No, absolutely not. And look, and young Aronson's there too, Paxton Aronson and too. So you never know how that would play out. And very, very quickly he could move up the ranks and start doing some things. All right, we'll get up to the forward position. Okay, so Gio Reyna is going to be involved, whether people want it or not, and I do want it. I don't think Jesus Ferreira is going to be involved only because of the false nine-ish way in which he plays, and I think that is going to be he's going to carry that around, and I think there's going to be such a hell-bent type of desire to get away from that and actually focus in on true striker number 9s that he's going to fall by the wayside. Christian Pulisic is going to be around. I don't think Jordan Morris is going to be around. I don't think Haji Wright is going to be around. Timothy Weah is going to be around. Josh Sargent, yes, I say that he's going to be around, but this is wide open, as we've said time and time again. Obviously, you have Ricardo Pepi waiting in the wings. Pefok is 26. Not sure he's going to be around. And then Brandon Vasquez. There was so much talk about Brandon Vasquez, who, by all accounts, is going to be in this camp in January. And who knows, might be the missing piece and might be looked back as we didn't bring the missing piece.
Yeah, I mean, first off, at winger, that's the strongest position right now. Pulisic, Weah, Reyna, if we're counting Aronson in that group. Younger Aronson, as you mentioned, could be in that mix as well. So, yeah, I think the U.S. is going to be very well served there. Even somebody like a Caden Clark could work his way into the mix over the next 3.5 years. At center forward, they're all young, so in theory, their best years could be ahead of them if you're talking about Ferreira, Sargent, Pepi, DK, Vasquez, all these guys, Haji Wright. But you still question whether any of them is good enough, really, to be a starting center forward. The X factor in this whole equation is this Balogun, this young player who hasn't decided yet whether he's going to play for England or the United States. Arsenal player on loan right now with Hans in Ligue 1, doing very well. And, man, if he were to declare for the U.S., then that throws another very talented player into the equation. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on that.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.